Community, Jeff here. Just wanted to show this one thing that I got over the weekend and tell a little story behind it. So, yeah, you know, I've talked recently in previous videos of my local store and how somebody is dumping some 80s metal on pieces, you know, in little lumps here and there. So I've been paying more attention to their videos when they come out with, hey, this is what's new in our used bin, and they toss these videos. And so I wasn't paying close enough attention, I guess. So Friday night, my band had a gig, and so I'm at the gig. I'm in between sets. It's late at night, and I'm watching. Oh, they have a new video. It was posted Thursday. I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh, man. You know, I'm seeing a lot of stuff that I already have, but I can tell it's another batch of 80s stuff. I'm seeing Riot and Michael Schenker's second album, and Y&T and Scorpions and Metallica. And I saw, you know, I forget which one it was, but it was, there was a Slayer album. There were 3 Metal Church albums, 2 of which I needed. And it just kept coming. I'm like, wow, there's a couple of these that I want. But here it is Friday night, a whole day after they posted this video. So I'm thinking, the good stuff's going to be gone. Saturday morning, we're kind of piddling around after I wake up. My wife's like, so do you want to go anywhere today? Yada, yada. And I happen to be revisiting that video as I'm watching my computer. She said, oh, is that the bookstore? And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, anything good? And I'm like, yeah, there's 1 or 2 things in here that I'd like to have, and a couple things that I would really like to have that I'm sure are out of my price range. Because some of these, I know that they're going to have them priced at, you know, decent prices as far as expensive. She's like, well, let's go. And I'm like, okay, fine. And so we went down there Saturday afternoon. I'm guessing early afternoon, but I'm still thinking maybe 3, 4 o'clock. And I'm looking, and they only have the one Metal Church album that I already have, the first album. And they had it marked for like $90. I think it might have been still sealed. So the next 2, they had the first 3 Metal Church albums. I wanted 2 and 3, and they were gone. They still had the Scorpions. They still had the Riot. They still had the Michael Schenker. None of these that I needed. They had the Slayer album. I don't know what was so special about it, but it was marked at like $160, $180. Yeah, I wasn't going to go there. They had a Venom album at War with Satan, which I had as a teen, but not a big fan. So probably wouldn't have bought it unless it was really cheap, but it wasn't. It was like $59. These were all original presses, and they're in really good condition. The one album that stood out that I thought, that's some obscure metal, chances are it might still be there, and that's really the one piece that I'd like to have just because of the obscurity, and I knew, you know, it might be more in my price range, and that's the album by Crank. I've had the digital tracks. Somebody traded me some digital tracks. I had no clue who this was. 1986 release. No clue who this was. Pennsylvania band. They only did this one album. Well, and then in 2003-ish, I think, there was another CD that came out. I don't know the story, lineup, or whatever. But this was cool because I've heard these tracks. I knew the band, you know, had that, you know, they got that 80s look. And I just thought this would be kind of a nice piece. It's on Metal Blade Records. I don't remember them back in the day at all. 1986 totally passed by me. But I thought this would be good to have if the price is right. And I set myself, I went online and I thought, okay, I can get a copy of this for X amount of dollars. So I knew roughly the price I wanted. And then I got there, and the price was probably $5 more than I had set in my mind. Now, there was one copy on Discogs, which would have been a few dollars, a bit cheaper than what my mindset was. But all the other copies that were on Discogs were more than what the store wanted. So there was still some balance there of, well, I could get that one cheap copy, or all the other copies would have been X amount of dollars. Nothing else there really was going to go in there and in my pocket. So I was like, and then I finally talked myself out of it. And I'm like, you know, I'm not buying anything. I don't need it because I don't want to spend the extra money for more than I wanted to pay for that. It wasn't worth it to me. So my wife was back in the books. They have used books. They have new books. And I've mentioned this before, I think, but you know, who remembers this? But at this store, they sell new and used products. New, secondhand, all this stuff. Books, movies, albums, CDs, cassettes, stuff like that, comic books. And my wife said, well, I'm going to get this book. And I'm like, is it a new book or is it a used book? She said, aren't all the books here used? I'm like, no. And I looked at it and it had a green sticker on it. I'm like, green stickers mean new because it says, buy this and get an instant bonus discount. I knew that meant that if you buy the new product, any used product that you buy is 25% off. Now I'm like, okay, if you're going to buy that, then the record that I didn't want to pay so much for is now as low as the cheapest one on Discogs. And I checked it. I mean, this thing is one little fingerprint on it. Other than that, I don't know if it's ever been played. It was just perfectly shiny. You probably can't, I mean, you know, whatever. It was, I'm like, for near mint practically. So anyway, I bought it because with her book purchase, which she was going to get either way, I saved like $8 off the copy, and I'm like, okay, well, that makes it worth buying. So I bought it. Cool stuff, kind of a little thrashy sounding, kind of trashy sounding, kind of, you know, maybe reminds me just, I guess the look reminds me of like Wasp and stuff in those early days. Just kind of, you know, blood and guts type, straightforward 80s metal. They may look a little, you know, I don't know, they probably, people might classify them as glam, but they are definitely not. They're just straight up metal, Pennsylvania metal of the time, American metal of the 80s, just solid stuff. So that was fun. Now, I leave, I come home Saturday night, they post a video at 5 o'clock. I'm like, this video had to be made while I was either in the store or, I mean, more Metallica, Anvil, the list goes on. Now, nothing that jumped out of me of, I have to have that and gotta go back to the store. But if it was there, I probably would have bought it, like the Anvil, Iron Maiden, stuff that I already have. But I'm just thinking, here's another whole batch of 80s stuff. And I'm like, but I didn't go back. Again, nothing drew me to where I had to fly down there and get it. But had I waited around, or had I known that they had it behind the counter, I could have asked them. They would have shown me. And maybe I would have picked up one or two of those. Again, the store, they do their research and they do price them to get the most profit out of it. They're compatible with Discogs. They have a store on Discogs, but they are going to sell it for what the lowest Discogs is. Well, you know, for that median range of what it's going to be. It's not like you're going to get them for real cheap. So anyway, I didn't worry about it, but it's just, somebody's dumping some stuff here and they're in great condition. And I just got to keep watching the videos. But anyway, that's it for now. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll be back. Rock on and rock hard.